Hello, welcome back to Britain's Newsroom on GB News with me, Ben Leo, and Nana Akwir. And we're delighted to also be joined by Amy Nicole-Turner and Emma Webb in the studio to go through all of the day's top stories. Can we kick-start with biscuits? Because Robert Jenrick, the Tory leadership hopeful, reckons custard creams are the nation's favourite bicky. And I wanted to get your thoughts. Can we get that plate out, Nana?
Yes.
Just
I do like
a custard cream.
They've gone down, but that's left.
I would say stopped clocks and all that. Robert's onto something. I actually agree with him
you
on
reckon
this
custard
one.
creams?
Yeah.
Emma?
I don't know. I think shortbreads are pretty
Shortbreads
popular.
is very good. For me, dunking a shortbread in a cup of chamomile, or not chamomile, actually, that can make you feel a bit sick.
Chamomile?
A herbal tea.
Yeah.
Any herbal tea,
Any
not chamomile.
biscuit and herbal tea, I think.
No, not chamomile,
I'd even
afraid.
go for a dunk of cake.
I like
Especially
any
if you're having
biscuit.
herbal tea. Yeah,
I'll
a bit of cake and
dip
tea.
my lemon drizzle in a bit of herbal tea.
That's delicious.
Oh.
Well, that's it from Britain's Newsroom today. Hard-hitting investigative journalism.
Let's start with the low-skilled migrants, because a lot of people saying immigration's a great thing, immigration is a great thing. Yes, it is, if you structure who you allow in, but low-skilled migrants cost taxpayers £150,000 each. That's reported in The Telegraph. Amy Nicole-Turner.
So this piece in The Telegraph uses data from the OBR, so, you know, very reliable set of data, but it only looks at low-skilled immigrants when they arrive, and it assumes that they're going to stay low-skilled throughout their life. And if you take the average immigrant coming into the UK, the data set changes quite significantly, and the average immigrant will take out far less than they put in, and that's down to things like the fact that they don't use the education system because they arrive here as adults, so they don't take out that £6,000 a year or whatever to get educated.
But they might have children.
But so I think it's a bit unfair that we look at the low-skilled migrants, we assume they're not going to advance throughout their life, and we don't look at the average immigrant
Well, I think
is a net benefit.
But if you're looking at a snapshot and you're saying that in that snapshot they're costing £150,000, and then you want to look at another snapshot later on, I mean, this is a specific look at low-paid migrant workers and the immediate drain, their immediate drain, which is what we have to deal with right now, here and now.
Well, this is, like you say, this is about low-skilled migrants. So over the course of their life, this report has found that it would cost the taxpayers £150,000 per migrant over the course of their lives until retirement age. That goes up to £1 million per person if they live to 100. Obviously, people are living longer lives, and so that number just goes up and up and up quite exponentially once they hit retirement age. But to Amy's point, I think, yes, it's true that that skilled migrants do benefit the taxpayer differently to this. But one of the reasons why there's a sort of net benefit is because they are often educated elsewhere. So this point about whether or not they will become skilled over the course of their lifetime is sort of by the by, because it's unlikely that a low-skilled migrant is going to become a skilled migrant over the course of their lifetime. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. But the point is, I need to finish. I need to finish my point because this is important. For a British-born worker, over the course of our lifetime, we will contribute, on average, over £200,000 to the public purse. It is. People have been concerned about this for a really long time, and we're constantly being told that migration is good for the economy. This shows that it is not good, that low-skilled migration and not having control over our borders to decide which workers come here it is not good for the economy.
But it only does that if you can prove that they stay low-skilled throughout their lives, and all the data suggests that they don't. So an average immigrant is beneficial to the economy. So
no,
yes.
I don't think you can say that.
But
I don't think
Nana,
you can say
you
that.
said the word reality. The reality is
there's
yes, there is.
There's no evidence to say that somebody who comes here as a cleaner will then become a
doctor.
Or there's no evidence.
That's a slightly different career path.
But
most people will advance and progress throughout their lives.
The point you're making is that somebody who's low-skilled may then become highly skilled, and I'm saying that it is unlikely that somebody who comes doing low-skilled work, very low-skilled work, will suddenly become a doctor, dentist, barrister, those things, and you must know that.
that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying somebody that when they arrive in the UK, they earn £30,000 a year, it's probably likely that they will end their life earning more than that £30,000 a year.
Money,
and that's why, if you look at the data within this very article with this headline, it says that the average, and surely we should look at the average of any of these data sets, is that they will be net.
But it is average. It's average over the course of a lifetime when they come here as low-skilled workers versus those who come here as skilled workers who've been educated abroad. So that's one way in which they don't take from the public purse, because low-skilled migrants are also more dependent on the NHS, more dependent on public services. It is not fair that those who have paid into the system for their entire lives should be having to prop up low-skilled migrants who have come in on an uncontrolled system that repeatedly the British public have voted against. But it's wrong.
It is a nonsense to say that they're more likely to use the NHS. Migrants coming
it's
to
in
the
the
UK
report.
are less likely to
You can't
use the
cherry
NHS.
pick the report.
They're more likely to work in the NHS in skills shortages that we can't fill without migrant labour.
If you want to know whether migrants are good
skilled.
for Britain's economy, just look at GDP per capita, which is the true valuation of how wealthy individuals are in Britain are feeling, their quality of life. GDP per capita, not GDP. And GDP per capita, despite uncontrolled mass migration, has been contracting year after year after year, which, in my book, and according to many other experts, completely blows apart the myth.
Okay,
I
want to move on to this next story, because I think we do need to talk about this. The furious Sadiq Khan suggests prisoners should be given first choice of housing. I didn't want us to not talk about that. So I'll come to you, Emma Webb.
So if you look at the number of homeless people out of the prison leaver population, it's about 25%. That, compared to the general population, is about 0.6%. So there is a massive problem with people leaving prison, finding themselves homeless and reoffending. So surely, if we are serious about halting that reoffending rate, then Sadiq Khan does have a point. I think where he's lost people's attention is where he said, jump the queue, because that instantly inspires a feeling of unfairness. But I think he's made a good point in a clumsy way.
So, so you commit crime, you go to prison, you've got nowhere to live, we'll give you a house. I don't know. That doesn't sound good for me. Emma?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
If you're being cynical, we've seen the video of the released prisoner saying that he'll vote for Labour for the rest of his life. If you wanted to be really cynical, you could say that maybe Sadiq Khan is hoping that all of these rehoused prisoners are going to vote for Labour if they live in London and keep him in office. But I think it's despicable. We've got British people who are homeless, veterans, homeless, families who can't get adequate housing, and the fact that the Labour Party have released these prisoners early and are now talking about allowing them to jump the housing queue, when one of the pressures that is preventing families from getting on the housing ladder is the fact that we're also at great expense to the taxpayer, housing illegal migrants who are coming over on small boats. The whole thing is an absolute mess. You couldn't make it up. And it is frankly sick. It stinks.
Oh, God.
Well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I mean, what do you think? GBNews.com/you'll say there'll be plenty of people who've paid into the tax system who are waiting to try and get onto the housing ladder, onto the council housing waiting list, and it's not happening because they've got to keep going back because of migrants and all sorts of things.
But I guess, the fact is 80% of prisoners, 80% of people who commit crime will commit crime again, or it's not their first offence. Only 20% of the prison population, first offence. So if you want to save money overall, surely it's preventing crime, preventing people going to prison. And this is a real way of...
maybe they should build a new prison.
Of acknowledging what drives crime, what drives reoffending.
I would just, yes, absolutely, as Emma says, build a new prison and not put people in prison
Where would you put that?
For hurt
Well, this is the
NIMBYs
This is the problem. They're releasing...
on a boat somewhere.
They're releasing these criminals, but they're putting people in prison for Facebook posts. So they're taking up... Though it's not as if they're just freeing up space. They've just literally deluged the system with people who have been posting things on social media.
Those people were coming out of prison 10% of the time later. They were still coming out of prison, all those people that we've seen this week.
Yeah, but how have they selected these prisoners? Because one of them was immediately rearrested for rape.
My point is, these people are going back into the community at some point, thinking about what makes them productive and unlikely to reoffend again once they're back in the community is surely more productive to an end solution than saying, build a massive prison.
No, I don't.
Because you can't keep them in there forever.
I don't think it's not productive to let people out sooner. They've had
prison should be about punishment, not just rehabilitation.
I think it's also...
But it doesn't stop offending. Surely the main point of prison is to stop offending again.
It just shows as well, which a point which isn't talked about a lot, is the political naivety of Labour to do that, the optics of it. Whether they'd be out weeks later anyway, just the optics of all these lags coming out. One was getting into a Lamborghini, others were coming out to champagne.
Listen, we've got to move on.
Same day as the Winterfell.
Amy, Nicole, Turner, and also Emma Webb, really good to have your company. Right.